Hi, my name's Tommy from NBS. I'm here to introduce you to NBS Building. I'll show you some of the key features, some of the key functionality of the software. We'll look at some hints and tips, and we'll produce some different types of specification documents. So let's get started using the software, and let's start producing some specifications. The first thing that you're presented with is the welcome window. From here you're provided with news, tips, and also support materials. So we've got videos, articles, and access to the help center. I'll close this down. Next is the logon window. With NBS Building, you are able to set up user accounts within the organization. We would recommend that you do this to help you see who has been using the software, who has edited different parts of the specification. However, the software comes with one generic account called user. This does not require a password, so anyone is able to use this and get started using the software. On logging on, I can access the full software interface. So let's have a look at some of the key components of the screen. The panel in the top left is the welcome panel, and from here you can create new documents, and you can also browse the documents that you've started recently. From the bottom left, you can access the references. From here you can browse, you can search, and you can select content to bring into a specification document. The right-hand panel includes the NBS guidance, which is supporting information to help you make decisions and to help you specify correctly. Below that, we've also got manufacturer's information. So this is a library of hundreds of manufacturers and manufacturers' products that you can use in your specification. Also below that, we have user guidance and software help as well. I'll switch back to the guidance panel. So let's create a new document. I'll click on the link within the welcome panel. NBS Building allows you to develop specifications, offer standard specifications, a set of preliminaries, and also you can standardize a set of preliminaries for your offers. In this example, I'm going to create a sample specification. Enter the document title. And note how the document file name mirrors the title. Next, you can select a specific save location. I'll save this on my desktop. And then if I click on Next, I can start to build up the specification and I can start to bring in content. I'm able to browse the NBS libraries to find content relevant to the project I'm working on. You can see in NBS Building the content is split into these three groups: minor works, intermediate, and standard. Minor works work sections are for relatively small scale projects, intermediate are for medium-sized projects, and standard are for larger, more complex kind of projects. I'll have a look at some of the minor works work sections. So if I click on the plus sign here, I can open that up and I can browse some of the content located in that folder. The content in NBS Building is arranged and classified using a system known as the Common Arrangement of Work Sections. You can browse all of the groups and work sections from here and pick out content suitable for the job you're working on. For example, if I open up groundwork, I can see there are different work sections available in there that I can use and add into my project. Let's say I want this section here, D20. I can click on the right pointing arrow to bring that section into my project. As well as bringing in individual sections, I can add whole groups into my project. So for example, if I want windows, doors, and stairs, which includes these four sections, I can select L, again click the right pointing arrow, and it brings in that group and all of the sections that come below that. If any sections are not needed, you can select these, and I can click on the left pointing arrow to take that out of my specification. Note that I'm also able to access any offer standards that might have been set up, and also I'm able to browse for references. So I can browse to a previously developed NBS Building specification and take content from that as well. I'll click on Next. The third stage of the Create New Document process allows me to set and define document permissions for the specification I'm working on. For this to work, you need to have individual user accounts set up within your organization, but you can select users and then define a level of access, ranging from no access to manager, which gives full editorial access rights on that document. You can also deselect this box here to make the document unrestricted within your office. I'll click Finish now to complete the process and to create my document. So the document is now created, and I can see at the top of the screen the name of the specification I'm working on. And also in the top left window, I can see the content that was selected earlier is displayed and can be selected and edited further. I can always bring further content into my specification at any point by browsing the references down here. So if I require additional sections, I can open up the relevant folder, open up a group, and select the required section. I can click on the Add button here, or I can drag and drop that section into the top left window. To start editing a section, simply double-click the work section that I want to work on. The section is now open and ready for me to start working through and editing the clauses. Note that all of the clauses within the section initially appear with a yellow question mark. This is an indication of the status of the clause. The question mark indicates that the clause is pending and it's waiting for you to make a decision as to whether you need the clause or whether it's not required for that project. If I click on the question mark, you'll see the other two statuses, such as included if I require the clause, or excluded if that clause is not required. On selecting the clause, you'll see on the right-hand side, I get relevant guidance information. The guidance will include links to useful websites, as well as standards and other reference documents. Many of the clauses include drop-down lists from which you can select appropriate values. And once the inserts have been complete, you can change the clause status to included. If any clauses are not required, you can exclude the clause. This is not permanent, however, and if you wish to bring a clause back, you can change the status back to pending. Some of the clauses include links to manufacturers' products. If I browse manufacturers associated with this clause, you can see a list of suitable manufacturers' products can be selected and used in here. If I select the specific product that I require, I can see additional guidance information about that particular manufacturer's product. I can view the clause, and if I wish to use that product, I can click the Add As button, which will add the manufacturer's product clause into the specification section. It brings the manufacturer's clause into the section. There's further work that you can do to specify and edit the clause. And note how the original clause is still retained in the project. So you may wish to exclude this clause. Though you're able to edit the inserts within the standard clauses, the other text within the clause is non-editable. So if I wish to delete this text here, the software will not allow me to do this action. However, there is a way that you can modify clauses in more detail. To do that, you can create a copy of the clause. So if I right-click on this clause here, I get the option to copy clause. It will create a new clause with the original number and an A suffix added to this. There's various reporting options and guidance options that you can select as well. If I click OK, it gives me an identical clause. However, the difference with this clause is it is fully editable. So I can select text, I can delete, I can make any changes to the text as necessary. You can also use this copy clause option if you have a number of different variants of products in your specification. So for example, 4 different types of wood windows appearing in the same project. As I edit, exclude and include clauses within the section, you'll notice that this indicator at the top left next to the section title starts to change. This is an indicator as to how complete the section is. If I hover over it, it tells me how many clauses are still left as pending. So gradually as you work through the section, you'll see that this will change from a light blue to a purple colour. So in this example, I've worked through that work section and I've excluded and included all of the clauses. So I can see now that the indicator is purple and there's no clauses marked as pending. If I close the work section down, it allows me to save the changes that I've made. You can mark the section as complete. And there's also a feature called revisions, which allow you to record the status of the section and to track changes made to that section. I can see now at a glance that the section I've been working on is now complete, and also that group is now partially complete. In this example, I've worked through and completed all of the work sections that have been added into this document. NBS Building allows for exporting and printing the specification in a number of different formats. If I access File and the Export Wizard, this gives me various options for formatting, publishing and exporting the specification. You're able to determine what content you want to add into the published document, either all sections, or you can select out specific sections to include. There are various layout options that you can change, including options relating to the title page. You can turn on the separator pages and content pages. You can change the numbering, page numbering settings. You can include revision information in various parts of the document, and you can resize margins. From styles, I can change the font, the size, the color of the text used in the document. If I select the main page here, you can pick out different items of text, change the size, change the style, change the color if required. And from header and footer, you can modify the information that appears in the headers and also in the footers. So for example, if I want to put some page numbers to appear in the footer of the document, I can select center footer and then insert page X of Y to include that information within the document. Note that any settings or options that you change from the Export Wizard can be saved as a style sheet. This means that you can then load that style sheet into the next job and reapply all those settings and features. If I select Export, I can see that there's various export options available. I can export as a PDF document, as a Microsoft Word document, if I've got further requirements in terms of formatting and changing the visual appearance of the document. You can also export as a building specification, an NBS Building specification, if you wanted to forward that on to someone else who has NBS Building software. And there's a few formats there for annotating models and drawings with clause references. In this example, I'll export a PDF document. You can select where you want to save the PDF. And I will open the PDF file. The first page is the title page, and if I move down, following this, I can see the table of contents. Next, we have a section separator page. This could include information about revisions or changes that have been made to that section. And then following this, we see the work section itself. Note that it will include any clauses that have been marked as included or anything left pending. Anything which has been excluded will not appear in the specification. Each work section displays on a new page or a new set of pages, and they can be exported and distributed on their own, or such as this example, they can be produced together as a full specification document. Thanks for watching. I hope that was useful. I hope you're able to start using NBS Building soon to develop some specifications. Note that we've got lots of additional support materials and videos available on our website. We've also got a dedicated software support department, and they're always happy to help you to deal with any queries or further questions that you might have.